Let me cross out these two, which we're not going to need to know how to change them to. And the factored form is only there as a box to figure out the x-intercepts. So this is probably a more accurate title anyway, because factoring is one way to get that, but you don't have to do it by factoring. How do we do the axis of symmetry from vertex form? It is. So what's the axis of symmetry? 1. Perfect. So we know it's 1 because the -1 in there means 1 to the right. So vertex form, you can use transformations to figure out most of that information. Okay?
How do you know that that's the axis of symmetry, though?
So when you do transformations, what you're transforming is the vertex.
Okay.
So you're taking your entire parabola and moving it 1 to the right. And if you take your entire parabola and move it 1 to the right, that's what the axis of symmetry is. The axis of symmetry is the middle of your parabola. So it's kind of just about knowing what each thing stands for, rather than kind of memorizing formulas. Because I think that's kind of where you're getting stuck at, it sounds like.
Yeah, I just, do you know it because, 1 is C or something? To see how it's...
I don't even remember what letters I think we called this A, this B, this C or something, but it doesn't matter what letter you call it. The information inside the parentheses is the axis of symmetry.
Okay.
And it's always opposite what it looks like.
Okay.
But excellent, Raiden. Call the next person. Liam? Shocking. Okay. Oh, is that yours? Okay, Liam. How do I find the vertex if I know the axis of symmetry?
You go to the end number, which is -8.
Okay. So because the -8 on the end means down 8, we know that the vertex is 1 to the right, down 8. So our vertex is 1, 8. Vertex form requires very little work for most things. Good. Somebody you want to call on? Okay, call on somebody. I'll phrase it that way rather than saying, do you want to call on somebody?
Kids.
Okay. Yep. Way outside your comfort zone there. Cadence, can you, I suppose you probably would rather pick the shading than the x-intercepts?
You shaded above.
Okay, how come?
Because it's greater.
Perfect. We shade above because it says h of x greater than. That's how we know it's going to be shaded above. Good. All right, so choose somebody to pick probably the hardest part, which they'll be really thankful for. Maya? Okay? And I can help guide you, that's not a problem.
Okay. For the graph, would you just have the...
Wait, x-intercepts.
Oh, that's...
We need the x-intercepts before we can graph it.
Oh,
That's why I wasn't sure if you remembered how to do that or not. I can help guide you if you want that.
yeah.
Okay, so normally if it was like standard form, we would factor it or quadratic formula it, but we can't when it's in vertex form. But we do start the x-intercepts the same way, where we're going to write the equation and make it equal to 0. Because when you make it equal to 0, those are x-intercepts.
So can you use the quadratic formula or
Nope. Nope, because we don't have it in standard form. Quadratic formula only works when it's standard form. What we are going to do is we're going to go way back to solving by square rooting. So we are going to add 8 to both sides. We're basically going to do the opposite until we get x by itself. So add 8 to both sides to cancel that off. Then this says 2x minus 1 squared equals 8. Then the next thing I would cancel off is the 2 in the front, because that's easy to cancel from the whole thing. So I would divide by 2. square root at this stage because that'll cancel these squared. Right, you just keep doing the opposite to cancel things out. And that's kind of how you approach vertex form. This is plus and minus 2. And then adding 1. And I know I went through that kind of fast, but I wanted to get as many problems in as we could today. You guys have done this before. It's probably just been a while or felt like it's been a while. You want to call the next person? Oh, question? Go for it.
Why wouldn't you just add the 1 to 2?
We are going to. The issue is this plus and minus thing, because this is actually positive 2 and negative 2.
Gotcha.
So we are going to add the 1. That was going to be my next question, is how to do this.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. We will. Do you think you can just answer it now since you brought it up?
I wouldn't know how.
You wouldn't know how to add and subtract 2?
Oh, you just add them. Wait, what?
Isn't it just two different answers?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
3. I didn't hear you. 3. 1 plus 2 is 3, and then 1 minus 2, negative 1. Yep. You guys are able to use scientific calculator, so even if you're feeling unsure about the addition subtraction, you can type it in if you need to. I know the calculator for most people is like a little baby blanket where it just makes you feel more secure, like it makes everything feel better. Okay, so these are our x-intercepts. That's what we were finding that whole time. And now we have enough information to graph it.
Why would you have teachers have such good handwriting?
Such good handwriting?
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment because I don't think I do.
Better than mine.
That's definitely true. And you know that's not a dig. I was just agreeing with you. Okay, Aaron, do you think you can help me out graphing?
Sure.
Okay. We basically want to graph the two main things, the vertex, the x-intercepts, and then lastly we shade it. That's kind of what we focus on. The order doesn't really matter. How do I graph? Oh, 1, 8? Shoot. I'll go by 2s. There. Now we fix that. We're going by 2s. What do you want to graph first?
Graph 1, 8.
Okay. 1 to the right, 8 up. Yes.
Isn't it negative 8?
Yep. Nobody yelled at me when I wrote 8 up there. I even said 8 down. I can't remember who said the vertex. Whoever said the vertex said 8 down, and I think I just wrote positive 8. It is 1, negative 8. Thank you.
Next time if you want me to, I'll put the 0 on.
Yeah, definitely. If I write something wrong up there, sure. Because otherwise, a lot of times if I'm talking and writing, it doesn't always work together very good. Okay, 3, negative 1, I think that might have been mine. 3, negative 1 are the x-intercepts, so I would go to 3, I would go to negative 1. Now this one technically would be dotted lines, but I'm not going to really be looking for that on the test. So if you want to use correct dotted lines, but don't sweat it. No, I feel like you guys have enough things to remember for the test that I'm just not going to add to it.
What about the y-intercept?
We could have figured that out if we wanted to, but it actually kind of takes a little bit of work because you have to put 0 in place of x. So if I put 0 in place of x, I'd get negative 1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2 minus 8. It should have crossed at 6, negative 6. If you want to find the y-intercept, you absolutely can. I'm not going to...
How do you remember what the dotted line is?
The greater than or less than symbol, if it has a line underneath it, It's a solid line.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
If it's just a regular grade or less, then it's dotted. Okay, and then shading above. Aaron, do you want to call on somebody for me?
Zach. Taking a test, but I don't know how to.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's taking a test. I was about to call on you and I forgot about that.
Bryce.
Okay. Okay, Bryce? What?
What am I doing?
How do I shade? So we're supposed to shade above. Do you remember how you would go about trying to shade above? Like there's usually a straightforward way to decide.
Yeah, because it's going up, you would shade it at the vertex.
Okay, so you put your pen on the vertex and then shade upwards, and that helps you decide if it's inside or outside the parabola. So I'm never going to phrase it as inside or outside the parabola because it changes whether it's up or down, so we're just shading above. Okay, good. Let's go on to page 2. Now, is there anything up here in particular that you guys want to start with?
In the beginning.
You just want all of it, right? Okay, well, so this one says I can find the zeros of a quadratic function. You can find the zeros any which way you like, but I'm going to guess everybody's going to use quadratic formula. So these 6 questions are quadratic formula. Shall we just pick one random one to try together?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think well, let's see how long it takes. I mean, we still have tomorrow. It's not like we don't have to finish everything today.
Is it? Wait, what day is it
Today's Thursday.
today? That's awkward. Okay.
You thought it was Friday?
I thought it was Wednesday.
Okay, we're a little off.
Yeah.
So today's Thursday. We still have tomorrow to review together. So that's why I wasn't worried about getting everything done today.
Okay. Yeah.
Do we have another reading on Monday?
No, Monday's the test.
Oh.
It's been up there a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Monday, I was on Tuesday.
So did
It's on both days.
I thought it was on Friday.
How can you guys be so off on this? It's on the calendar. It's been on the calendar for that.
What day is like each again, or is it all the same thing? that we should-
Oh, got you. So the first day of the test is the scientific calculator only part, which is actually a majority of the test. Basically everything up here. The second day of the test is very short. It is just one page, like one problem with 4 parts. And that's going to be in Desmos.
Is it kind of like what we were just doing I think, today?
Nope. So this part down here is going to be in Desmos, where you come up with the quadratic regression, like line of best fit, in the computer.
Can we go over that?
That's what I was going to do tomorrow.
Is that just like the regression?
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I was definitely going to go over how to use Desmos again. I thought we would just cover a little bit today. Like, we don't have to do it all in one day. I know normally we only have one day of review. Yeah. Which one should we pick?
39.
39, so solid choice. Okay, oh, I got it on the crayon. Why don't you guys see if you can do the quadratic formula on 39 on your own, and then simplify it as far as you can, and then we'll do it together to see if you got the right answer. Yeah,
Do you give us the formula?
I can. I'm going to write the formula on the board as well.
Okay.
So quadratic formula is negative b plus and minus. Sorry, I kind of forget that you guys don't have it fully memorized yet. And if you do, that's awesome.
Negative b plus or minus.
Yep, there's the song.
Did you make these problems up on your own?
No. I mean, I can, but no, I didn't. These I took out of a book. This one, yes, for sure.
What won't we have?
Say what?
What ones won't we have?
Axis of symmetry, I guess. I'm trying to think what other formulas we used. But axis of symmetry is the first part of the quadratic formula.
Yeah.
So if I put the quadratic formula on board, you probably should remember that.
Mhm.
Wait, how did you get 4 plus 8? I kept getting 4 minus 8.
So you've got minus 4ac, and c is a negative 1. So you're going to have minus
Oh, that's-
negative 8.
Wait, how did you do that? I just got 4 in the,
So negative 2 squared is 4.
yeah.
Minus 4ac, and then so 4ac ends up being negative 8, and it's minus negative 8. Basically, the two negatives turn into a plus.
So, okay, so you can't just like type it all into your calculator?
You most definitely can.
Well, I did that and I got positive 4.
So if you're typing it in your calculator, I would type it in exactly like this with parentheses.
Oh, gotcha.
So put every single number you're multiplying in parentheses like that, and it'll come up correct. Like this is you were trying to do the inside of the square root?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you type it in like this, it should come up with 12.
Okay.
And then I'm going to simplify square root of 12, if you haven't done that already. 4 goes into 12, so I'm going to split it up into square root of 4, square root of 3.
Wouldn't it be 2, 3?
Yep, square root of 4 is 2.
Oh.
Wait, why did you split it up?
I'm just simplifying square root of 12, and the way that you simplify it is to take out perfect square numbers.
Oh,
Certain calculators, I don't know which one you have.
Monica, do you have this one?
no.
Yours should still do that. I used to have
It should still break it up.
So, yes, some of the calculators, if you just type in the square root, give you the simplified answer. I feel like that one gives a decimal.
It does.
Yeah. Not many of them simplify it for you. I know the Casio calculators usually simplify with square roots.
So how do I I just have to know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any other answer other than you have to know. Now, this isn't the final answer. You guys are allowed to simplify it however you want. If you want to leave your answer together as one, you can. But I also know a lot of you have trouble simplifying. So simplifying is easier if you split it up into 2 parts. So if you need to do this, do this. I'll know whichever answer you put is correct. Like I'll know how to tell difference. But then 2 over 4 I can reduce on both of them.
And
Go ahead.
how did you get the 2, like, you went from having,
Square root of 4 is 2. That's what you're asking, where did that 2 come from? Yeah, so square root of 4 turns into 2. Yeah.
So could you just write the third answer? Like, yeah, this one.
Where my mouse is now?
Yeah. Or do we have to simplify it?
Yeah. So if you write this answer, what would happen is you would just lose a little bit of points for not simplifying. Normally I don't make a big deal out of that, but since you can use calculators on this one, I will. So if you're unsure, you can always leave the answer you have, and then you would only lose a tiny bit of points for not simplifying.
Why don't we add the 2's?
Because the second 2 is attached to the square root of 3. So this is like saying 2 regular numbers plus 2 of the square root of 3's. So they're not really compatible because they're not counting the same things. If the first 2 had like a square root of 5, so then you'd have 2 square root 5 plus 2 square root 3. The 2's in the front just count up how many of the certain things you have. So the only way you can add them together is if they both are counting the same things. So if I have 5 square root 3 plus 2 square root 3, then I can say 7 square root 3. So you can only add them together if they're counting the same things. I don't know if that helps or not, but that's what you're asking. Or a different way I can say it is don't.
Okay.
Do you guys want me to stop here? Do you want me to do some more?
Can you just do one more project?
I can. Let's do 41. Let's do 41. I'll do it over on, I don't know.
Wait, just like one quick question.
Uh-huh.
For 43, would you just substitute 1 in before the x's, and that's your A, B, C?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. I was just curious.
I don't really have anywhere to write. You know what? Let me go to a new page. 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. Shoot, I was hoping I would. I was hoping I was going to pick one that had a negative square root, just to refresh you guys on how to do the imaginary ones. But this one didn't come out to be negative.
40 did, that's why I asked you for 40.
How was I supposed to know that?
'Cause I asked for 40.
Okay, maybe I'll write 40 right underneath this one then. Especially because this one doesn't simplify at all, and that's the final answer. Do you? I'll kind of color. What is 40?
I've erased it out.
Oh, oh, I suppose it's not a sheet. 265. Okay, so there's 40 as well. Just as kind of a refresher, anytime you have a negative square root, the answer itself is going to have an I. Now, this one worked out where the square root was perfect square number, so it was 2i. But if the number inside there isn't perfect, so like a 5, then you're just going to write I times square root 5. And you take the negative symbol out of the square root as an I. However you decide to simplify the answer, as long as you're simplifying it correct, I don't really care how you write the answer. I'm just more concerned with you getting the right answers. I have a feeling most of you probably like to split them up to do simplifying because that probably feels easier. And so if that's the case, it's fine with me if you write all the answers split up like that.
How do you go from negative 4 to I again?
So, square root of negative 4, I do the negative symbol separate and the 4 separate. The negative symbol gives you I. Square root of 4 is 2.
Oh. Okay.
And that's kind of how you do it. So, like the 4 itself is what was most of the answer. The negative just meant that it was going to be imaginary, so I put an I. So if the square root is totally different, then you do it whatever the number was there, but the negative just means I.
Okay.
How about anything up there that maybe you're unsure of on how it was set up? I'll certainly explain it, whatever, go over it. I know, there's a lot of stuff for the test, that's why we're taking a bunch of days. Yeah. Okay, should I stop here then for today? Oh, go for it.
Since like the 4 can like have simplify to 2, if it was like 5 or whatever, then would it just be like 5i?
It'd be square root of 5i. So if the number doesn't work out nicely, then you just keep it in the square root, and then the negative symbol becomes the I.
Okay.
So yeah, you can write it as I times square root 5, or you can write it as square root 5i.
But the I would be in the square root.
You're right, you generally take it out as, yeah. This one, just the square root worked out nice. Okay, I'll